We all love slaying monsters. We all love adventure. And what better way to unlock this than with role-playing games, the RPG. Complete with many skills, plenty of adventure, with an open world, combat, crafting, player versus player action, special items, and even NPCs, there's little not to enjoy about this style of game. But like most huge projects, these things do not come without cost. Time, energy, money, and a lot of blood, sweat and tears goes into this. So how can we realistically create an MMORPG? My name is Jragon14, and we are going to be making an RPG together. This is Lila's Heart. So let me tell you why building an RPG from scratch is a horrible idea. I'm 18, I have a limited budget, and I don't really know a whole lot about programming. Thankfully though, one man has actually done most of the work for me. There's this platform called Minecraft, of course, which allows us to create games without even knowing much about programming at all. In fact, most of this stuff is done for us. There's already a combat system, a health system, a walking system, I don't have to code any jumping, and even multiplayer is already done for me. So most of the work is actually already done. Now, at the time of recording this video, I have actually done a lot of work on this already. I have a crafting system, farming, fire making, fishing, food and potions, furnaces, new player code, RPG NPCs, ores, shopping, status effects, a combat system, a trees system, and a weapons system. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to talk about combat in Minecraft. Now let's break down what's already been provided for us. We have a health bar which regenerates if your food bar is full, and a food bar which depletes. If the food bar depletes too much, you lose abilities, such as sprinting and regenerating. Now the combat as it is a little bit flat, but still quite engaging for the sandbox that it is. However, this RPG is going to have pre-planned dungeons, so we're going to make a few changes to the combat system. Currently the bow system and the timed cooldowns work as a great scaffold for this system that we are going to make. Now let's take a look at the changes to Minecraft's combat engine I made to favour RPG gameplay. Natural regeneration has now been disabled, so the player doesn't need to frequently take cover to regenerate their health. This is also so the player can stay in the action all the time. To balance this debuff, the health bar can be upgraded, armor can reduce damage, the food bar no longer depletes, and food now heals the player instantly. No waiting required. Essentially, I have made combat more action-packed. Rather than running away to eat and heal, you can heal yourself instantly, and you never have to leave the battleground unless you're retreating. Because food is extremely overpowered with the healing factor, it takes up an entire inventory slot. Inventory management is a huge deal in RPG games, so I decided to force the player to limit how much food they give themselves, and also give the player a reason to bring more expensive and powerful foods on their journey. A player might favour an expensive meat sandwich that heals 8 hearts, rather than a piece of bread that only heals 2. A variety of weapons have been introduced too, each with their own attack damage, crafting expense, attack cooldown, ability cooldown, tier, and weight. And that's a lot of stats to take in, but it's all written nicely for the player to absorb and decide which weapon works best for them. The ability of a weapon can be triggered by pressing the drop key. This will cause a cooldown on that weapon, depending on the ability used. Sometimes it can take up to minutes before an ability can be used again. However, leveling up the player's combat skill by completing quests will decrease the time between abilities. And finally, the weight of a weapon is also important. Heavy weapons will slow and weaken the player when used. However, this will not affect players who have a lot of strength. Every weapon, so far, is useful in its own way. Blunter is an average weapon that can stun mobs, fantastic against speedy mobs which can attack you quickly. The Scythe is weak, but speedy. It isn't a great weapon except for its powerful disarm ability, which can greatly reduce the amount of damage a mob does. The mace is heavy, but comes with a powerful uppercut ability. This is best against mid-ranged mobs. The Warhammer works well for high damage and high health mobs due to the huge amounts of damage it does. The Warhammer is extremely slow though, so you are susceptible to fast mobs. Because of the ground pound ability, the Warhammer works best against swarms of mobs and can clear them very quickly. And the Trident is a weapon of choice for swarms too. Teleporting the enemies above the player and giving them a speed boost allows a quick escape, otherwise a slightly below average weapon. And then there's the Glaive, quick and moderately strong. Has a powerful ranged ability, dealing massive damage to the furthest enemy within 6 blocks. The Katana works similarly to the Trident, but specializes in strafing around mobs. The Katana works well in most situations except against high damage and magic mobs due to its rapid fire attacks, but it's great for agile players.
I understand this combat system is primitive compared to other games, but even without millions of dollars and a giant team to help me, I can still attempt to achieve the following. First off, create a combat system which caters for a diverse range of player styles, and make every move useful in its own way without creating a cheap strategy that you can use over and over. Also, allow experienced players to learn which weapons work best for each situation, and also make it intuitive for beginner players. I also want to encourage players to level up and complete quests in order to use new weapons. And finally, I want to keep the player in the action all the time, and create a diverse experience which avoids making it feel grindy. Of course, weapons isn't even half the story, so we will have to make more adjustments to enemies, bosses, level designs, and traps as we continue this series. And thank you to my patrons, BootySC, mblohr, Corp, Mr. DemonN, EJ Monkey, Kyle, and Patrick for supporting this video, and thank you for watching and sharing. See you next time.